on from my last Christmas card video, I'm going to pull together a couple more from the supplies that I had out. Now, I did make this card off camera. I attempted to record it, but yeah, we had some technical issues, so wasn't able to record this one. So I'm going to do something, I guess, a little bit similar but slightly different, so for the purposes of you being able to see it, but I tend not to make the same cards over and over, so I thought I'd do a slightly different version. So what I've done is, with this pattern paper that I had, I've actually trimmed a strip of the reindeer and love hearts off there, and I've also trimmed a strip of those sort of star sort of snowflake shapes, so I've got a strip of each of those. This comes from one of the pattern papers that we had, so I've actually cut that strip so that it's a frame behind those reindeers just to give it an edge. And what I've also done is cut a piece of this light brown cardstock that I've been using, which will be the matte on the white card that I've got, and I've actually embossed it using the Kazaz embossing folder stars. So one of my favourite embossing folders because it's so versatile. Can be used for Christmas cards and things like that, or can also be used for boys cards. So a really versatile one. You sort of immediately think Christmas, but it does work out really well with boys cards as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started. First of all, I'm going to mount this piece to the red backing, and I'm just going to get my double-sided tape. And what I've also done is gone through those little pieces that I've cut and picked out a couple of things that will match. Now, in the attempt to do the last video, I actually mounted a couple of those pieces onto some chipboard that I had, so I'll show you that in a moment, but it's a really simple process, and I've got other videos talking about creating your own flare that actually show you the process of doing that. So I'm just going to mount that on there. Got a bit of sticky at the end, I might just trim that off. So that's on there like so, and so these are the two chipboard pieces that I was talking about. So all I've done is a generous amount of wet glue, and stuck it to the chipboard piece, and then trimmed around the chipboard once it was dry. So it just gives it a bit more sturdiness. So if I show you the difference between, say, this one here, this one bends quite a bit like so, and this one is quite stiff. So quite a firm piece. So it's a good way to make your own embellishments a little bit firmer if you could be bothered to take the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually adhere this strip here down to the bottom of the card. So I'll get my scrap piece of paper, and this is where those roller dot adhesives come in handy. And then just pick that up off the page. And we're going to lay that right down the bottom edge of that card. So try not to get any white to show. I've put it too far to one side. Still haven't got it far enough. Now this piece only just fits, so got to get it in exactly the right spot. Right off to the edge. Okay, so lay that down like so, and then what we're going to do is bring in our cardstock, the light brown colour. The cardstock I'm using is actually Kazaz brown sugar. I have to admit it's one of my favourite coloured cardstocks. Just is a really nice neutral tone, mixes well with a lot of different colours, and I kind of replace it for anything that really needs craft, because craft cardstock can be so expensive. Well, that's what I find when I purchase it. So I tend to keep my craft cardstock for very limited kind of projects, and I use this brown sugar a fair bit. So we want an even kind of frame all the way around, just visually place it down, and that sort of strip across the bottom just gives it a little bit more interest as opposed to just having a plain mat there. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to add it along the edge there. So just lay our double-sided tape all the way along. And then you just need to decide where you'd like that to sit. Do you want it quite close to the bottom? I think it needs a bit of a gap, but we don't want it too far up the top. So around about there. Should probably use the lines to help me line it up. There we go. And then just run it down so it's nice and firm. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this Merry Christmas sentiment is I'm actually going to have it up there, and then the love heart is going to come down the bottom here over the top of this twine. So I might do the twine first, and we'll just open it out and wrap it twice around. So just take a bit more leeway here. Now I'm never ever good at tying bows, so I generally just do a bit of a knot. I don't tie a bow. And once you get it tight, then you can maneuver it wherever you want it to be. Also am not that good at tying upside down, it appears. So pull it tight, and then I generally like to have them crossed over at the front. So just expanding that out a little bit, not too far. Go, and then what we'll do is add this embellishment here. Now because it's got to sit over the top of the ribbon, I'll just get something a little bit thicker. So the Kazaz foam sheets, I can't think of, Magic Mount is an ideal thickness for that kind of thing. And then if you don't want it to come off the page so much, that's where you might use something a little bit thinner. So it's good to have a variety of these kind of foam squares or pop dots or whatever you use, just so that you can use the right size for the project you're working on. I think actually I like it down there, so I'm going to put it just there. I'm going to trim up that like so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add this to the top. So this time I don't want it to come off the page too much because it's already got some dimension with the chipboard that we put behind it. So I'm actually just going to use the flatter foam squares that I have and place that on there like so. So it's really just a simple cut and stick, changing the design a little bit. You can see this one is similar in design but a little bit different, so it makes it a bit more unique. So keep watching because there will be plenty more videos using these products and lots of new Christmas videos coming. Thanks for watching.